What's up, YouTubers and plant lovers? It's Justin coming to you from the Big Blue Nation once again. And today, I was gonna go ahead and jump into another terrarium project. I had some pretty good success with the first one, and I thought I'd try my hand at doing a bonsai. I know a lot of you know that I'm really into trees, bonsais, so I love them, and I thought I would try my hand with one of these. As you can tell, this is a ginseng ficus. You can get this guy at Lowe's. That's where I got him. Walmart sells them. I mean, these guys are really popular for bonsai. They grow moderately, so they won't get too big. They won't really take off, and then you won't be able to keep up with it. They do kind of have darker shaped leaves. Usually, the darker the leaves, the less light that they kind of need. So don't set him too close to like any direct light. You will burn him. And keep that in mind if you're going to put it in a pot or a glass pot or a terrarium, because glass will kind of magnify the light and just kind of mess the leaves up and probably kill your tree. It will get really humid in here and really hot, so keep that in mind around the summertime and spring also. So first thing I always do with my terrariums is put the activated carbon down first, and then I'll put a layer of soil down. That way any kind of the water that drains to the bottom will be able to be wicked back up by the soil. A lot of people, including me, will actually put stones on the bottom, but this kind of holds the water in place and doesn't let it go anywhere or evaporate or anything. So you really should kind of be applying this with a fan on, because there is a lot of dust. So make sure that you're not really breathing all that in. It's not really good for you or your lungs. Alright, now you don't need a whole bunch in the way of this stuff. Just enough to kind of basically cover the bottom layer. And that really just kind of helps you to keep your soil fresh, or your water, because once that drains down in there, it's not going to have anywhere to go and it will get stagnant. Now I'm just going to go ahead and add on my soil. They do enjoy kind of faster draining soil, so make sure that when you water it, you don't give it a whole bunch of water and let it sit in like a pool of water, because that will mess him up too. And yeah, as you can see, it was one of the wickable kinds. These pots are fairly interesting. I don't really like them just because they can kind of attract bugs with this water, especially if it isn't changed down the bottom. And they have just a little wick down there that will allow the tree to kind of absorb any water whenever it wants to. But if you're not careful, the soil will always remain constantly wet, and that will attract aphids really bad. So gently, just kind of squeeze your pot here. Your tree is going to be root bound, so make sure you just kind of squeeze it a little bit and loosen it up all the way around. Don't really see any in the way of roots coming out of the bottom, so I don't think he's too root bound, but just be patient and gentle. Let it come out on its pace. Now this guy's got really fine roots, so be very careful when you're trying to knock off any of the excess soil. And that's going to help you in the way of room, because this guy will get pretty tall. So I'm going to rely on the art of bonsai to keep him at a short kind of stature. Now that will include pruning, regular pruning to keep him short, and then also you want to prune the roots as well. That'll actually help keep your plant on a smaller size. Also, you can't just prune above the soil, you got to prune below it as well. Now I don't know if you know this, but you're actually able to prune off about 3/4 of a plant's root ball without actually doing any kind of real damage to the plant. So as you can see, it doesn't really have a whole lot in the way of roots. It's just kind of fine. It's really wet. So I'll just knock off as much of the loose substrate and soil that I can, and just take these sterilized, clean scissors and just go ahead and start trimming the roots. That way the roots will have adequate room to kind of grow out on their own. Alright, now I'll go ahead and trim up a little bit with the leaves also. Now when I trim the leaves, I'm just kind of trimming in between the nodes, or the spaces in between the leaves. And again, you always want to make sure your pruning shears are sanitized, because you don't want to pass any diseases between plants. Now unfortunately, there's not really a lot of rules in the way of pruning. It is kind of hard. With this guy, he does have kind of a little bit of latex that will kind of come out when pruning. So you can wear gloves while pruning him. Otherwise, if you do not, make sure that you do rinse your hands after you don't want to ingest any of the sap and you don't want to get any kind of open wound or anything. Now all I did was I put in the activated carbon, just enough to cover the bottom of the glass, and then I added a bunch of soil, probably about an inch and a half of soil. And then I took my hands and I created a little divot where I wanted to put the tree, a nice little kind of round spot that the roots and the stem would fit into. And then I went ahead and inserted the tree, and now I'm just going to take this rest of this loose soil and kind of compact it down around there and tamp the soil down also, because you don't want any air pockets in there with the roots that can mess the roots up if there's a lot of air and a lot of space in the way down there. So make sure you do kind of tamp it down, and that will help your plant also. And basically you just want to kind of add it until you feel like the tree is pretty secure on its own and it's not going to move around a whole lot. And then I'll sit back down and admire it and make sure it all looks kind of level. And yeah, there's no real set directions with this either. It's kind of like what you see fit, and if you like it, you stop adding soil whenever you please, but make sure that there is enough for your tree. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and add in some rocks just to create a little layer. Alright, next, once you get the soil and the rocks and basically everything where you want it, I'm going to take a couple of these rocks out. You can start adding in your decor, whatever you're wanting to kind of put in the way of decoration. Now, this is just basically just moss. It is not live moss, so you don't have to water it. This stuff will kind of live without a lot of water, so you can just kind of spread it out, lay it down around there, just to kind of give texture and more green color to your terrarium. Now, usually the thinner you keep it, the better it kind of looks, I think, but you can mount it up however you see. Like, again, there's no right or wrong way of doing it, as long as you're happy with it. I did get this little bridge that I think will add to it, so I will add a little bit more moss. And then just kind of keep adding to your heart's content. Rocks are a good thing to add. This little figurine. They have different bags of moss out there that you can get lichen, different colored moss. But do just make sure that your soil is kind of compacted around the tree, again, so that there are no air bubbles. Alright guys, so that's really about it for my terrarium. This was a really easy project. I suggest getting the kids together, doing something like this. It's really fun, it's easy, it'll teach them about plants, and it's really crafty. It's an easy project, so I say give it a go. Mine is quite large for a terrarium, so you don't have to do one as upscale as mine is, but if you do, good luck. They are fun, and don't forget, just have fun with it. And also, do not forget the glass can intensify with heat and light, so just remember that with your planting here whenever you go to set it in the window. Well guys, I hope you liked it. I hope this tutorial kind of helped you a little bit and give you a little bit of ideas. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think of it. Post some pictures of yours if you've ever done a terrarium. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it. That way you'll know anytime I've uploaded a new video. You guys have a good one. Thank you all, and don't forget, always plant prudently. Thank you, YouTube.